The old mansion on the outskirts of Antioch, California loomed under a moonless sky, its silhouette a jagged black outline against the mist. Jamie and his friends, Sarah, Mike, and Ben, were drawn there, intrigued by the stories of ghosts and restless spirits that haunted its halls. It was their idea of thrill-seeking, playing poker in the most unsettling locations they could find. But this night would be different. This night, they chose wrong. They set up their poker table under the flickering glow of a single lantern, its light throwing twisted shadows across the peeling wallpaper. The air was cold, and with each breath, their lungs felt heavy. The game began lightheartedly, laughter punctuating the silence. But as the clock struck midnight, the room seemed to exhale a deep, shuddering sigh. A knock reverberated through the mansion, 3 sharp, deliberate raps that made the cards tremble in their hands. The front door creaked open with a drawn-out groan, revealing a figure standing in the darkness. He was tall, clad in a suit blacker than the night itself, and his face was a pale mask devoid of emotion. Without waiting for an invitation, he stepped forward and sat at the head of the table. The room fell into a silence so complete even their breaths were stolen. "Mind if I join?" His voice was deep, almost metallic, and each word sent a chill down their spines. He won every hand effortlessly, his long, thin fingers tapping the table after each victory. The sound resonated in their bones, a foreboding drumbeat. Ben glanced nervously at Jamie, his voice a shaky whisper. "We should leave. Now." The temperature in the room plummeted, and a scream caught in Ben's throat as he was yanked backward, disappearing into the darkness as if devoured by the house itself. His chair spun wildly before clattering to the floor. Sarah gasped, but no sound came out. The air thickened, pressing against their chests, making each breath a struggle. The lantern flickered, casting grotesque shapes that seemed to twist and writhe on the walls. Jamie looked down at his cards, only to see they were bleeding, a deep crimson liquid that oozed between his fingers and dripped onto the table. Poker Face's grin widened unnaturally, revealing rows of teeth that were pointed, almost animalistic. "One last hand," he whispered, his voice weaving through the room like smoke. The house began to shudder, floorboards cracking and splitting to reveal a void beneath that pulsed with a dark, ancient hunger. Mike screamed as he was dragged into the blackness, hands clawing at the air until he vanished without a trace. Sarah reached for Jamie, her eyes reflecting sheer terror. "Jamie, please!" Her words were cut off as the floor gave way beneath her, the darkness swallowing her whole. The room was alive now, groaning and shifting as if it had a pulse. Jamie's vision blurred, heart hammering against his ribs as he turned to face Poker Face. "Why?" he choked out, desperation staining his voice. The man leaned back, the shadows stretching around him like living tendrils. His eyes blazed red, burning with an unholy light. "Because you invited me," he hissed, the words cold and final. The last thing Jamie felt was a hand on his shoulder, icy and impossibly strong, pulling him into the abyss. When morning came, the house was silent. The police found it empty except for a single card lying on the table, its surface slick with a dark, dried stain. One word was scrawled in blood: survivor. But Jamie was never found. And on the windless nights in Antioch, if you listen closely, you can still hear the soft, rhythmic tapping of fingers on a table and a voice that whispers, "Until we meet again." Thank you for watching the video till end.